Over the issue of these 16 cases, it went to court, and I was never charged. And it was presented in court. We challenged. We said, why should we be charged for saving money? And eventually, the ESCC and the DPP said, actually, I should not even have been investigated. I should have been given an award. And a consent was written, and it was written clearly that I'll never be investigated of those charges because no money was lost.
Did the award arrive?
Through the blessings of God. And lastly, there's a question, Mr. Chairman, about branding Maendeleo Chap Chap. Maendeleo Chap Chap was my slogan, which I came up with as soon as I was sworn in. And so it was not a political party. And so we branded Maendeleo Chap Chap as a slogan to tell the people of Machakos that we want to do things in a chap-chap manner. We're able to build a stadium in 4 weeks that is now FIFA approved. We build a people's park. We build a road that is existing between Makutano Mamwala and Kidimani, 33 kilometers in 3 months. We broke the world record. Maendeleo Chap-Chap to serve the people of Machakos and the people of Kenya to show that it is possible. Later on, when Wiper Party and I fell apart, as it is in politics that happens, people said that I should have a party called Maendeleo Chap Chap because that is what I embodied. So that is how the transition went into. It was not branding for a party. It started on day one as a Wiper governor at the time. Lastly, I was asked a question about appending my signature, about what you did not know. I don't want to go back to the games and the tricks that were played during the Azimio times when we joined, because even the Wiper leader, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, said he signed what he did not know. And it's not that we signed what we did not know.
Point of order, Chair.
We had not seen.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
Chair, I would like to ask the nominee to kindly restrict himself to the questions and not to address matters that are not have not been brought, because the party leader of Wiper is not a nominee and is not one of the people that is being vetted.
Many people say they didn't know.
Let him answer the question.
I want to repeat what I said. Let's ask questions and answer them without veering off into any parochial politics. We want to deal with issues that are asked, and let's go on.
Well guided, Mr. Chairman. I withdraw. And what happened, and I don't want to go into that history, it's been overtaken by events, is that we signed a document in good faith. And what was attached to that document is not what we were shown. It was totally different. What was deposited at the registrar of political parties, when we later found out, was a different document than the one that we had actually signed, what we called Utapeli, which was one of the reasons that I chose to leave Azimio, because I saw deceit and I could not really match what was happening. And I don't believe it was the entire Azimio. I think it was a few people who were playing games and were ruining it for the whole of the Azimio team that was really committed to fostering ahead. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable
Mutua, congratulations on your nomination for this post. As you know, Kenya has a strong presence in the diaspora, the Middle East, the United States, Europe, and so on. Recently, there has been a focus on Kenyan workers in the Middle East who have suffered various forms of abuse and even death during their stay there. What measures will you put in place, if approved, to ensure that the migrant workers are documented, protected, and fully enjoy the rights accruing to them in accordance with the international labor laws?
Dr. Mutua, you will record the questions. We'll take batches of 444. Then you answer. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker. And I'll skip the first question because it's been covered by the Honorable Sholei. Dr. Mutua, you indicate, my question comes from the self-declaration, the questionnaire. You indicate that you are worth about 420 million. Then on deferred income number 21 and the sources of income, you've only indicated that pension is the only deferred income you expect. Then sources of income in salary from government of Machakos, having been governor. Maybe to begin with, how much were you worth before you became governor Machakos? And if the only other source of income deferred is pension, and I did hear you indicate to the speaker that you have other businesses here and there, do they constitute sources of income as you would have indicated in your form? If they do, how much is it? How much are you earning? And maybe I would want to hear how much you are worth before you became governor, and whether the 420 million, you would also tell us whether it would be assets, because I've seen other nominees at least give us a schedule of an appendix of what constitutes that 420 million. So I'm not able to tell, is it money you have earned from previous employment, as a lecturer, as a government spokesperson? How has this been built up? And maybe how much do you expect to be worth in another 10 years?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Mutua, you are the first governor we are interviewing on this committee, today at least. And there is a worrying trend of governors having been investigated by investigative agencies for quite some time, with cases not ending up in court. And you are one such example. I want to specifically address two issues with regard to Machakos County during your 10-year tenure as the governor of the county. And one issue that has been investigated, and we are yet to see the outcome of the investigations, is a scandal concerning dams. A scandal. There is a dam by the name Marumba. I don't know if you can, yeah? You know about it? Marumba Dam, where the county government of Machakos spent a whooping 89 million Kenya shillings without anything being done. This was meant to go towards the siltings of the dam. This money was paid out, and nothing, completely nothing was done here. In addition, the Danish International Development Agency pumped in 50 million Kenya shillings, again here, without any tangible result. You want perhaps to enlighten this committee, to update this committee. What became of this project? How much money has been pumped into it so far in total? What became of the investigations by the investigative agencies? And what are the measures being taken to recover this money that essentially belongs to the public? Two, is the now infamous procurement of 16 vehicles by the Machakos County government under your watch. Another mega scandal that was investigated, and indeed the matter ended up in court way back in 2014. Somehow, come the year 2018, the matter was dropped, or the charges were dropped, after a purported agreement between the EACC, the Attorney General, and the DPP. Could you clarify, Governor Mutua, how this came about? And what became again of the monies that were pumped into this white elephant project? Thank you.
Boy.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to ask the nominee that while serving as governor, elected in 2013 on a Wiper ticket, you branded all county government projects with your photos and the words Maendeleo Chap Chap. This was eventually registered as a political party, and it is the one that you used to vie for the seat in 2017 after the public had been able to see these in all images on all county projects. Mr. Speaker, isn't this an abuse of office based on the strict reading of Article on the Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity, particularly Article 73, on responsibilities of leadership, and Article 75 on the conduct of state officers? Because this was use of public funds to advance personal interest. And finally, Mr. Speaker, on the nominees' democratic ideals, considering that the office for which is being nominated requires one person who is able to particularly know exactly where they put their signature, especially because we are going to be dealing with international treaties. During the campaigns, the last campaigns of 2022, the nominee signed into the agreement of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, and later on went publicly to say that even after signing, he did not know exactly what he was signing. Might this be something we would be worried about, considering he will be CS if he's approved by the House, and he would be probably have to deal with reading documents for signing on behalf of the country? Thank you, Chair.
Can answer those, Dr. Mutua?
Thank you very much,
Take another batch.
Mr. Chair, thank you. On the issue of the diaspora, Mheshimiwa Gladys Sholei, through Mr. Chair, it is quite unfortunate that as we sit here, Kenyans have died and have been mistreated in some parts of the world where they go to seek employment. It is quite a shame. I found out that we've lost 85 Kenyans in the last 3 months, and about 1,000 have been repatriated, especially from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where they have gone. I've looked into the matter and I've seen systematic failure in systems, from how they are recruited here and how they are let to operate when they get to Saudi Arabia and other places. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is a friendly country. We have an embassy there, they have an embassy here. The kingdom and the government of Saudi Arabia are not involved in this. But there's a question that we're asking ourselves, and that is, a lot of Kenyans go overseas. They go to Qatar, they go to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, they go to Singapore, they go to many other countries, but yet they are dying in Saudi Arabia. There is a problem. I've seen a tendency where there's a blaming of the victims. I heard the other day some people saying the problem is with our girls. It's blaming the victims. It's very, very bad. There's a big problem, and if I am cleared and nominated, I'm cleared and then I'm sworn in, I'm going to ensure that we work with the labor team and the labor ministry to ensure there are systems in this country so that we are able to know who really needs to go overseas, how it is done, are these girls trained, how do they get to go there? When they arrive in Saudi Arabia or other countries, do we monitor where they are, where they live, etc., etc.? Well, I'm going to put stringent measures, and I'm going to make it my first trip overseas, if I'm approved and sworn in, will be to Saudi Arabia and the Gulf area, personally, to take care of this problem. But more so, we have lost 85 girls within the last 3 months. These are Kenyan citizens. These are Kenyans. And their deaths cannot be in vain. I'm going to work with the Minister of Interior. I'm going to work closely with the Saudi Arabian embassy and Saudi Arabian embassy and the government, so that we can even allow our DCI to go to Saudi Arabia with me and investigate each and every death that has occurred, so that each and every person who participated in the death of these girls is brought to book and charged. These are Kenyan lives. We need to send a message that no Kenyan will die overseas or get hurt overseas, and the government does nothing about it. So I'm going to lead from the front and to ensure that this never happens again. But we're going to take care of some of the systematic failures that we have seen. Cartels that are operating here and other places, we'll take care of them and ensure that the life and sanctity of Kenyans is protected. The second question was about the wealth before I became governor. Before I became governor, my wealth was about close to, let's say, over 200 million. By that time, I had already invested, and the investments have been able to grow. What I presented were assets in terms of land that I had acquired from monies that I got when I worked in the Middle East, businesses that I had been able to start. In the form, self-declaration form, I'd also listed a few of the companies that I own, that I'm a shareholder in that list, and that shows my source of income that will be able to continue. Within the next 10 years, by God's blessing, I hope to have doubled my income through the businesses that are there thriving. As a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I'll not be able to participate in business much. I'll be taking care of, if I'm approved, will be taking care of the foreign interests of this country. But the businesses will take a life of their own. There's a third question about the worrying trend of governors being investigated. I'd like to go through them, Mr. Chair. The first one was about Maruba Dam. I was never questioned or anything brought to me about Maruba Dam. I think there was an investigation. Somebody wrote a petition about it. All I know is that as the Maruba Dam was being scooped, I personally, and I picked the Bible and I swore, I went and I witnessed the works being done of the silting of Maruba Dam. And I think the investigative bodies, if they are investigating, let them do their work and let them charge if there was any mistake that was done. But I know that the work got done. Number two was about Danida. The 50 million being talked about Danida was money that was not properly accounted for, that was moved by some officers in my then government to other uses that were meant to go to health centers and health facilities. These monies were returned. There was a proper audit that was done, and this was corrected. And I even visited the Danida offices, and we had an agreement, and people who were to be surcharged were surcharged, and that was taken care of. On the issue of the 16 vehicles, and I'd like to speak about this, Mr. Chairman, been called a mega scandal. When I became governor, we were given 140 million shillings. And the 140 million shillings were to buy luxury vehicles for governors and the executive. I asked myself, we come from a country of low economics and come from a country where there was only 4 ambulances at the time in Machakos and 2 on top of stones. Would I buy luxury cars for myself when people are dying, or would I buy ambulances? So I opted to buy second-hand vehicles. Majority of Kenyans, the hustlers, they buy second-hand vehicles. So I bought 16 second-hand vehicles at a price of 35 million shillings. And I used the rest of the monies to buy 80 ambulances to serve the people of Machakos, so that I could drive. And I drove for 4 years, for about 8 years in Machakos, using a second-hand vehicle as the governor of Machakos, and all my ministers, so that our money can go to serve the people, not to serve the luxuries of Wakubwa. Mr. Chairman, as a result of those ambulances that we bought in Machakos, we've had over 864,000 beneficiaries. We have over 241,000 pregnant mothers have been ferried by those ambulances in Machakos. We have the fastest response time in Africa, second to South Africa. That is Machakos County ambulances. We have 51,122 children who are born in those ambulances. In the olden days, children were born in Ukambani called Mwanzia and Zelani because they were born by the side of a road. Nowadays, those names are non-existent during my tenure because people are not born by the side of a road. So we're able to remove that shame. So the mega scandal that was there was that people were dying, mothers were dying because there were no ambulances, because of people wanting to have Ukubwa, and the rest went down. In terms of